Well, we went to a fight and a basketball game broke out tonight. The Cavaliers and the Memphis Grizzlies squared off, and for some reason, Spence and these two teams get together two times in the last 3 years. There's been some sort of on-court altercation. So we got to see that tonight. Donovan Mitchell and Desmond Bain. We'll talk about that a little bit more here throughout the conversation. But, I think what's interesting about this game, Cavs win 129-123. There was moments where it felt like the Cavs should be like up a lot more. I mean, they out rebounded Memphis by 20. They dominated the boards. There were some really, high scoring moments where it was like the Cavs would pull away or there'd be a couple big shots. And I kept thinking like, I was kind of typing in between, like writing a story, but I kept thinking like, oh, the Cavs are up like 10. And then I looked at the score and it was like, oh, they're only up like 4. Like Memphis kept it really close, which I think is a testament to how good of a team they are. But Spence, like you get to the end of this game, and it kind of felt like in a season where we've seen the Cavs win a lot of different ways, but also blow a lot of teams out. This felt like another way of winning that we hadn't really seen yet. Like a very physical game, some tense moments. You didn't have Darius Garland. You needed some different people to step up, and they were able to pull it out. So I thought that was kind of a cool takeaway from this game. But I think overall fun one tonight. I think I walk away sort of feeling like I saw the two most fun games this season so far here in this arena, in the OKC game and now this game. Ironically, the two top teams in the West.
Yeah, they were definitely competitive teams, OKC and Grizzlies, of course. I think it was interesting that Kenny said that the Grizzlies and the Cavs switched roles tonight because the Grizzlies were keeping themselves in this game with the 3-point shot.
Yeah.
While the Cavs were winning it with the physicality and on the glass. And if you look at the box score, kind of looks like a game that the Cavs would play last year, You had Donovan Mitchell taking 20-plus shots. Evan Mobley got 20 shots up. They were really the
aggressors. Is that Kenny Atkinson or JV Bickerstaff out there?
There you go. Exactly what I'm talking about. And then, of course, we're going to get to the hero of the night, the star of the night on national television, Ty Jerome just going full-on takeover mode in the fourth quarter. That was a huge performance for him, but it's nothing like we haven't seen this year. It's just been who Ty Jerome is, and his fluke start to the season, as many people might want to have referred to it as, is not. It's just who he is. The outside world has seen what Ty Jerome brings to the table on all three levels of the game. And it's just been so fun to watch. One of the surprise stories of the year, but he shouldn't be surprising anyone anymore.
No, I mean, it's funny. I kind of asked him about that specifically after the game, because Kenny Atkinson's been pretty candid about the idea that at different points in the season, he and others kind of felt like, all right, he can't possibly keep this up forever. And now you're at the end of February, and I think everyone's kind of accepted no, this is who Ty Jerome is. And he talked about how it's been a lot about just staying healthy, keeping his body right. And that's been kind of a nice story for him. He's been phenomenal, and he's one of these guys coming off the bench who, I think we talked about it a little bit, but you have an injury to Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell at any point the rest of this season or in the postseason, you have a guard you can trust to kind of come in and fill that void for you. We've said so much about Ty Jerome already throughout the year, but that continued tonight. 15 points he had in the fourth quarter, most of his career in the fourth quarter. Just, when they needed a spark, he was there to provide it in some of the key moments in this game.
He is the spark, man. I mean, which way do you want the poison, right? It's the floater that they joked that they have to come up with a name for it. Ty wasn't about that, but Kenny Atkinson was talking about how the coaching staff said that they have to come with their own name for the shots that Ty's putting up there with that little teardrop. You have the 3-point shot when he's pulling up from 25 plus feet in transition when there's 3 guys defending and they're dropping back, and Ty's like, no, I got this, guys. I'm just going to pull up and shoot. The way that he's able to touch the paint and also involve his teammates, I think he's really good at passing in the pocket, but also when he's drawing attention with that floater, being able to bring in 2 or 3 defenders to try and contest that shot now. And he's finding the guys who are cutting, or he's finding the bigs who are right there just for the easy pass in.
Yeah.
He has so many different aspects of his game to do that. And then defensively, you saw another one tonight, the reach around, poke from behind, where he was able to get a possession for the Cavs defensively. And he's been doing that all year, just kind of getting his hands in the cookie jar. And then lo and behold, the Cavs get it the other way.
His hands are so quick. I mean, that's been
it's
been another part of his game.
And his feet are so slow, like the slow step that he has, and he's able to kind of just stop on a dime and just make a legal move. I don't know why I'm doing that in the camera, but hopefully people enjoyed that. I was trying to do it.
Spence is getting like he's nerding out when he starts like actually doing the moves.
I am nerding out, man. It's been fun to watch Ty this year. It really has.
Sure.
And, Donovan had some really good stuff to say about him after the game, so make sure you check out our YouTube channel. And it's really really cool to see someone who he's known since he was 8 years old, and they're playing together now and seeing that come to fruition on the national stage.
Well, and so you bring up Donovan. He had a great game tonight, 33 points. Complimentary, him and Evan Mobley, who had 25 and a double-double tonight. Nearly had a triple-double. He was 2 assists shy. Mm-hmm. But you know what's interesting, Spence? Like, on a night where you didn't have Darius Garland, the two players that we continually sort of talk about as, like, the most important players for this team, Evan Mobley is kind of the future star in the making. The guy who's walking around saying he thinks he could be a top 5 player in this league at some point.
Yeah.
And Donovan Mitchell, who's already in the conversation for being one of the best players in this league. Like, they stepped up on the night when you needed them to. And I also thought what was interesting was like the minutes that they played tonight.
Yep.
I know Kenny talked pregame about sort of elongating some of these guys, time on the floor as you get closer to the playoffs. I didn't get a chance to ask about that specifically after the game today. But I think this was kind of phase 1, if you will. You get in a game like this against Memphis, sort of like a playoff atmosphere, playoff feel, because you don't know if you're going to play this team in the playoffs anyway. So you're sort of treating it that way. Tough team, one of the best teams in the NBA as a whole. And, you keep Donovan out there for 35 minutes. I looked this up. He's only played 35 minutes. This is the 10th time this season he's played 35 minutes. Evan Mobley played 36 minutes. So there was clearly sort of a choice there to keep those guys out there a little bit longer, see what they could do with more time on the floor. And, the results were great because in a game where, again, you were sort of shorthanded without Darius Garland, they stepped up and made their presence felt and helped lift this team to victory, along with Ty, who we already talked about.
Yes, absolutely. And that, I think, is a really good point. Just with Donovan and Evan on the floor together, I thought it was really interesting hearing Donovan talk about how he draws all those attention towards him. So he kind of has allowed the growth of Evan Mobley because he has to kind of make plays on his own, and he has to dribble and drive on his own. And that's kind of just forced the hand a little bit in the development of Evan. And as we've seen, and as I've been talking about all year, he likes going to his left. And when he's on his way to the rim with his left, it's usually not good news for the other team because he's able to kind of rise up and either jam it down or he's going to draw a foul. I think that he's been really decisive and really patient this year when he puts the ball on the floor, unlike, past years where maybe he'd get a little bit rushed. He still does have his moments where he travels. Sometimes he's processing ahead of his body, but at the same time, there's been a lot more good than bad when Evan is putting it on the floor. But I think just even equally, like the way that he's making plays for his teammates this year is outstanding. The rebounding and running and going the length of the court. We're not even talking about this, and people probably, this is going to something that they gloss over, right? But he took 8 threes tonight. He made one.
I was just about to bring that up.
That's a big deal.
I was just about to bring that up because he usually doesn't take that many. But also, it's the persistence. Like, he struggled early. There was a sequence early on in the game, first quarter, where he took a 3. The rebound comes back out to him. He took another 3. He missed both. And the Cavs tonight, they did not shoot very well from 3 just in general.
No.
It was a tough night for them from 3. And honestly, they were 27%. And that's the thing, that was the thing that kept Memphis back in the game because how badly they were getting out rebounded. At one point, the Cavs had more offensive rebounds than Memphis had total rebounds.
Yep. First quarter and first half, I think.
So like the way they were playing and how physically them, it was like, how are they not up more? And it was because Memphis was shooting lights out from 3 and the Cavs just were knocking them down. But so for Evan to have that persistence to be like, I haven't hit one tonight, I'm going to keep shooting. And he eventually knocked one down. And it came in a big spot. It came late in the game when they needed one.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty huge. So, you keep seeing this from Evan. You keep seeing sort of how his role is going to evolve, and it's been fun. And him and Donovan together is just like, it's a symphony. They're great. So I thought they were both special tonight. We do need to, since we're on the topic of Donovan, I think we need to get into the little skirmish that happened.
Do we?
Yeah, I mean, the fans want to hear about it.
Yes, they do.
I mean, I think so to be clear, because 2 years ago, the whole altercation with Dylan Brooks, that had a different feel to it. And a lot of that stemmed from Dylan Brooks and Donovan Mitchell had some bad blood already. Yes. And Donovan did not mince words after the game about that.
No, he did not.
Today, he was much more political, where it was like hey, listen, just 2 guys competing. whatever. It didn't seem like there was any ill will. Him and Desmond Bane, it seemed like, they played the rest of the game. There wasn't a ton of stuff. Obviously, Cavs fans are giving it to Desmond Bane the rest of the game, and that's going to happen. What it seemed like happened, though, was that they were both going for the loose ball. Kenny Atkinson calls timeout, gets it. After the timeout's called, they're still both going for it. Desmond Bane won't give the ball up. And so then they both try to kind of get up. Donovan sort of steps over him. Desmond Bane, I don't think liked that, sort of grabbed Donovan's ankle. Looked like at one point there was a picture of that going around on social media.
Yes.
And then, Donovan got mad, sort of like tried to be hands off. His teammates come to his defense, and it was a whole thing. No punches were thrown. There was a couple texts thrown out, double text for Bane and Mitchell, singular text for Tristan Thompson and John Moran, who came off the bench. Could be some suspensions from that as well. But, it's funny that this keeps happening with this team. But it definitely felt like a completely different vibe after this one than what we got 2 years ago with Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, different energy is how I would say is this one. Just because it was a competitive play.
Yeah.
It was where neither wanted to relent, right? When Donovan and Desmond were going for the ball, they both had their hands on it. The whistle blew, but Desmond didn't want to let go. And so Donovan didn't want to let go. So what happens? They end up tussling a little bit. Donovan ends up on top, and then he stands up because he's trying to get out of it. And then Desmond, like you said, grabs the ankle, and then all hell breaks loose after that. Somehow Donovan ends up in the crowd.
Yeah, he got pushed in the stands,
which is crazy.
So here's the thing too. Part of the reason why I don't think it was that bad though. Late in the game, Jared Allen posterized John Morant, and Ja was kind of hugging him the whole time.
Correct.
And they sort of had a nice laugh about it. They pat each other. That to me was a sign that what happened earlier was just kind of two competitors going for the ball.
And even hearing what Ja had to say after the game too is when we were listening to what Gabe sent me on the email. He was more or less just trying to protect his teammate, even though Kenny wasn't a fan. Yeah. Kenny wasn't a fan of what Ja or Tristan did.
Kenny put the line.
Kenny was actually pretty upset about it.
He said, guys can't leave the bench. Let the two people sort of sort it out and be done. So he was pretty disappointed about that. That's 2 times in a couple of weeks where he's been a little bit disappointed in Tristan Thompson for leaving the bench. Well, not this time leaving the bench. The last time was because he had the unnecessary dunk. But Tristan Thompson's going to Tristan Thompson. What are you going to do?
I just tweeted out ELE. Everybody love everybody. Hey, if you guys know what that movie is, then let us know in the comments.
But no, so that was kind of a nice little extracurricular that kind of played out tonight. But what were you going to say?
We're kind of glossing over the fact you just brought up the offensive rebounds and the rebounding battle. That's a big deal. 57-37 on the glass. And especially for how the Cavs have been rebounding, they haven't been doing it as much. But what's the thing that Kenny's been bringing up time after time in these press conferences? The possession game. They want to have more opportunities to score, which gives you a better opportunity to win. And that's why it's a blend of old school meets new school. He goes and leans into the analytics. He's also really good at having a feel for what this team needs. And, you look at even the starting lineup, a lot of people thought that DeAndre Hunter would be in the starting lineup. It's Max Strus right now, and I think it's going to continue to be Max Strus. So that, I think, is in and of itself. Isaac Okoro drew a start in DG's absence, which a lot of people probably thought that they could go with DeAndre or they could go with Dean or even Sam Merrill. So he's kind of pushing the right button still. You brought it up about the minutes being more elevated as we get towards the springtime and towards the playoffs. That's going to be really important for them. But at the same time, I feel like Donovan and Evan, and even to an extent DG and JA, having played for JB Bickerstaff, they know what that's like. They just got to get used to it again.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. And then, the bench, how deep you are. I'm just interested to see when they're fully healthy, which they basically are. DG's probably coming back. That is one thing, too, we can report is that Kenny said it was probably more day-to-day and that he could even be back.
Seemed probably more precautionary than anything, which is
right. Right. But, you have your, top 8 set already.
Yeah, again, I'll go back to the top of the conversation here when I say this. It felt like a night where we saw the Cavs have to play a different style to win. Mm-hmm. And it speaks to their versatility, their depth as a team. They can do different roles. They can play different things, different styles. They can win different ways. And listen, this time of year, as you get closer and closer to the postseason, now only 25 games left in the regular season, that stuff matters. being able to win series different ways, games different ways. Not everything's going to be rainbows and butterflies when you're in a 7-game series against the Celtics or whatever. Some games are going to be different, and you might have to muck it up every now and then. And the Cavs, I think, proved tonight that they can do that. So yeah, I think that was a huge point from tonight. But I think all around, like, a fun game. And I walk away now. I haven't gotten a chance to watch Memphis really for the first time, like, more intently. And like that's a good team over there, and you should feel good about the fact that you got to win against them. We'll see them obviously coming down the road here because they play in Memphis coming up in like over a week or so, something like that. So
yeah, we got 2 points that I want to hit on before we get out of here. So coming into this game, Evan and Jaren were the focuses. That was the 2 guys who were in the DPOY battle because Wemby's out for the year, unfortunately. Hope he's okay. Never want to mess with blood clots.
Right.
But the fact that Evan and Jaren are probably going to be your front runners for that award, they both came into this game knowing that. And I think that Evan edged out Jaren in that respect. And then I think also that Evan was able to outplay Jaren, even though Jaren was big time in the end of the fourth quarter. Like, that push float shot that he has when he puts it on the ground, and he's able to kind of get guys to jump on his pump fakes, and he's just got the footwork working down there. He's just a great player offensively, and so improved with the ball in his hands. And I think that he has one of the quickest releases in the game, especially for someone his size. Jaren's a special player. Evan, on the other hand, like, he set the tone for this game in the first quarter. He came out and was grabbing offensive rebounds. He was letting it fly, attacking again, driving from that left side, but also being in the pocket, being ready for it in the dunker spot. Like, he was engaged from the very beginning. And Jaren, he was in foul trouble for the majority of the game, but he played through it. But I just thought that was a really good matchup. So was really excited to see that. I can't wait to see the rematch here in a couple weeks. But the thing that we really didn't talk about was how dang long this game was.
Well,
it was like 3 hours.
I was just going to bring that up, actually, because you mentioned, like, people being in foul trouble. Ja got 5 fouls in this game, obviously, by the
Sam
end.
Merrill got called for 3 fouls, and
Ty Jerome had like 3 in the first half. He was like playing with some foul
Ty.
trouble.
That was the other thing that was really impressive about Ty. He had 3 fouls in the first quarter. Usually that messes up your rhythm, man. Like, the fact that he was able to stay with it and end up with 26 points, and he had like 5 and 4 on top of that. So, like, that was really impressive.
It was. I mean, they were calling this game tight. You talk about, like, there's nights where they, like, let them play a little bit. They were not doing that tonight. They were calling everything. The game was long. You had the skirmish that slowed things down because they went to the review for that.
They had about 7 different
They had
reviews.
to review a bunch of different plays.
Yeah,
I looked. So it was what, 9:44 with 26 seconds left, and I said, this 26 seconds is going to take 15 minutes, and then the game finally ended at like it ended at 9:55. So it took about like 11 minutes to get through that 26 seconds. It was crazy. But that's the end of NBA games. This is kind of how it goes.
I think that they were.
It was a very long game.
I just think that they were overreacting to the skirmish too. I think, like, they wanted to get the game in check after that, but no, bad job out of them tonight. I thought in the first half the Grizzlies got a bad whistle, and then I thought in the second half it was just equally as bad. So, is what it is. But the amount of times that we saw Courtney Kirkland at the damn scorer's table just saying something about a reviewed play, I feel like I'm going to see it in my nightmares tonight.
Yeah, it was very long. I didn't know. I honestly joked on social media that if this game goes much longer, the Cavs are going to basically be playing a back-to-back when they go to Orlando on Tuesday. So, because it did drag.
I made the joke that I was going to sleep over. Like, maybe I'll sleep right on that table over there.
There's no need to sleep over when they don't play here for a while, but that's okay. Yeah. Anyway, appreciate you guys stopping by as always. You can head on over to, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers and SI website, or si.com/NBA/Cavaliers. Check out any of our written content from tonight or today. Javonte Green was added to the roster today. That was a big deal. I know they talked to him during shoot around. He sort of talked about some different things, so you can check out some stuff about him. Check out, if you want to see video of the skirmish, if you missed it live, that's up on the website as well. We also implore you to stick around here, hang out at the Cleveland Cavaliers and SI YouTube channel. Spence got all the post-game comments up already. You heard from Ty Jerome, Donovan Mitchell, and of course, Kenny Atkinson. And you can find more content like this, our post-game hits, our podcast, Courtside with the Cavs on SI, so much more over there as well. And as always, we appreciate the support. I think somebody in the comment section earlier said, thank you guys for what you do.
Oh,
That was very nice.
Appreciate
Really
that.
appreciate it. It's
Thank you
late.
very
I'm
much.
over here yawning on video. It's terrible.
He doesn't have a voice
terrible.
anymore. His throat is going to be ripped out.
Yeah, this
soon.
cold just keeps lingering. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I'm here, and we appreciate those comments. So thank you. We will talk to you guys throughout the week. I'm sure Spence and I will be doing a podcast at some point. We'll let you know when. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Go get some sleep, and keep on following along with all things Cleveland Cavaliers with the Cleveland Cavaliers on SI.